My name is Natalie Morrison. I'm 27 years old. At my brother Jonathan's promotion dinner in front of 19 relatives, my mother raised her glass after toasting his success and turned straight to me with a sweet, pitying smile. We have 3 sons who make this family proud. 3 sons who matter. As for you, Natalie, maybe one day you'll actually matter to this family too. Laughter rippled through the room. My father smirked into his wine. My 3 brothers looked away in silence. My sister-in-law let out a soft, humiliating chuckle. No one defended me. Not one person. They all believed I was the worthless daughter who never amounted to anything. They were dead wrong. Because 30 seconds later, the doorbell rang. And the moment that man walked in, everything they thought they knew about me was completely and brutally destroyed. Before I tell you what happened that night, if this story resonates with you, please hit like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments. Where are you watching from right now? Now, let me take you back 10 years ago, when I was 17 years old and made the mistake of choosing my own path. Spring 2016, I'd been accepted to Northwestern University with a full scholarship for computer science. Full ride, 4 years, tuition, room, board, everything covered. $216,000 in value. Most families would celebrate. Mine saw it as an insult. My father sat me down at the kitchen table in our Oak Brook house. 8,000 square feet of colonial perfection, circular driveway, every family photo in gold frames except mine. He looked at that acceptance letter like it was a piece of trash. Computer science, he said. Natalie, that's a fine hobby. But it's not a Morrison career. My 3 older brothers had studied business, finance, aviation. Real fields, as he called them. Jonathan got his Harvard MBA fully funded by Dad, $240,000, paid without hesitation. Benjamin went to UChicago on Dad's dime. Tyler got Purdue, full tuition. But me, taking a scholarship instead of family money meant I was rejecting them. That's what my mother said, standing in that same kitchen with her arms crossed. If you take that scholarship, you're telling this family our support isn't good enough for you. Is that what you want people to think about the Morrisons? I took the scholarship anyway. My father stopped calling it an education, started calling it my computer hobby. My mother stopped introducing me as studying at Northwestern, started saying I was doing a program. That was the first crack. Over the next 4 years, it became a canyon. I graduated in June 2020, virtual ceremony because of the pandemic. My father didn't log in. My mother watched but never unmuted her microphone. My brothers sent brief texts. Congrats, I guess. From Tyler. Nothing from Jonathan or Benjamin. That same day, I received a wire transfer notification on my phone. $8 million. Series A funding from Greylock Partners, one of the most prestigious venture capital firms in the country. Because while my family was deciding I didn't matter, I'd been building something they couldn't see. Junior year, 2019. I was 20 years old, sitting in my dorm room at Northwestern, looking at a problem nobody else seemed to be solving. Enterprise companies were spending millions on human resources, but the actual work, resume screening, interview scheduling, candidate evaluation, was manual, inefficient, broken. I wrote the first version of the code in 3 weeks, called it Meridian AI Solutions. It used machine learning to automate the entire hiring pipeline. I pitched it to a Northwestern alumni investor over coffee. He wrote me a $50,000 check on the spot. By the time I graduated, Meridian had 8 clients and $800,000 in revenue. My family thought I was doing freelance web design. I let them think that. Didn't correct them. Didn't explain. Because every time I went home, every holiday, every family gathering, I heard the same thing. Thanksgiving 2019. My father asked what I was doing for work. I said computers. He turned to my Uncle Jim and said, "She's not ready to be serious yet. We're hoping she'll grow out of it." Christmas 2019. My father gave each of my brothers a $25,000 check. For investment and future planning, he said. He gave me a $100 Visa gift card with a note for art supplies and hobbies. That same week, my pitch deck got forwarded to Greylock Partners. The email subject line read, "This kid is building the future of enterprise AI." I never told my family about the meetings, never mentioned the term sheets, never explained that COVID, for all its devastation, made my business explode. Remote work meant every company needed automation tools, and Meridian was perfectly positioned. Spring 2020. Series A closed. $8 million at a $30 million valuation. I went from 90% ownership to 60%, but now I had capital to scale. My family's group text that summer. Family update. Jonathan promoted to senior product manager at Apex, $160,000. Benjamin closed a $400 million deal at Goldman. Tyler flying international routes. So proud of our boys. Natalie, any updates? I typed, "Still doing computer work?" My mother sent back a thumbs up emoji. What I didn't type, I just hired 12 employees, signed a lease on an office in the Chicago Loop, and closed a contract with a Fortune 500 company for their 50,000 person workforce. The pattern continued for years. I built. They dismissed. I scaled. They ignored. 2021. Revenue hit 3.2 million. My mother told relatives I was still figuring things out. 2022. Sequoia Capital, one of the firms that funded Google, Apple, Oracle, led our Series B. $45 million at a $180 million valuation. My equity diluted to 28%, but my stake was now worth over $50 million on paper. That Christmas, my Aunt Patricia asked if I was still doing that computer thing and offered to connect me with her friend's daughter who needed help with an Etsy shop website. I smiled and said I wasn't taking new clients. What I didn't say, 2 days earlier, I'd signed a contract with a global pharmaceutical company for a $7 million implementation. By 2024, Meridian AI Solutions had 240 employees, $105 million in revenue, and we were profitable. The company I built in a dorm room was dominating the enterprise AI automation space, and then the acquisition offers started coming. April 2024. Email from Russell Bennett, CEO of Apex Dynamics Group. Subject line, acquisition discussion. I stared at that email for a long time. Apex Dynamics was a major tech company, publicly traded, Chicago-based, and my brother Jonathan worked there. I clicked reply. 3 months of negotiations. Bennett explained they needed Meridian's technology to compete with Google and Microsoft in the enterprise AI space. They were willing to pay a premium. I negotiated hard, $680 million, cash and stock deal, Chief Innovation Officer title, mandatory board seat, 5-year retention plan. The deal closed August 15th, 2025. Total payment to me, $190 million gross for my 28% equity stake. After capital gains taxes and legal fees, I netted $45 million at closing. The retention bonus structure paid me another $133 million over 3 years, $19 million due March 2026, $32 million in 2027, $53 million in 2028. Post-tax, total package, $152 million. The same day the deal closed, Jonathan sent a message to our family group chat. Apex just made a major acquisition. We bought an AI company called Meridian AI Solutions for $680 million. This is going to change everything for my division. I read his message. Didn't reply. That evening, he called me. Nat, Did you see Apex bought an AI company? Crazy money, right? Anyway, random question. Do you know anyone who does graphic design? My team needs a logo for the new Meridian integration project. I said I wasn't taking design work. He laughed. Come on, it's easy money. I can pay you like 500 bucks. I said no. He posted in the family chat. Asked Natalie to help with a simple project. Too proud to help family. Jonathan had no idea that the technology his entire division was being restructured around, the Meridian integration project he needed a logo for, was something I had built. He knew Apex acquired Meridian AI Solutions for $680 million. He just never imagined his little sister, the family disappointment, could have created it. Nobody imagined it. September 2025, Labor Day barbecue at my parents' house. My father asked if I was still doing the web design thing. I said I was still working with computers. He told me it wasn't too late to get an MBA, to make something of myself like Jonathan had. I had a board meeting the following Tuesday as a director of Apex Dynamics Group, where my brother worked. Thanksgiving 2025. My mother stood in front of extended family and said, "We're so blessed with 3 successful sons, Jonathan thriving at Apex, Benjamin with his beautiful new house, Tyler flying internationally, and Natalie." She paused, gave me that sympathetic smile. Natalie is still exploring. We have faith she'll find her path eventually. 2 days before that dinner, I'd sat in the Apex boardroom and reviewed Jonathan's quarterly performance metrics. His division had exceeded targets because the Meridian integration, my technology, was working better than projected. I voted to approve his $15,000 performance bonus. I voted on my brother's bonus. He thought I couldn't help him design a logo. Christmas 2025. My father gave each of my brothers a check, $25,000 each, for investment. He gave me the same thing he'd given me every year since I turned 18, a gift card. This time, $100. The note said, "For art supplies." That week, I approved Jonathan's division budget for 2026, $2.8 million. My signature was required because, as Chief Innovation Officer and board member, I had authority over all AI integration spending. I signed it, sent it back, spent Christmas Day in my 1-bedroom apartment in Logan Square, the same apartment I'd been renting for 4 years at $1,600 a month. I could have bought the entire building in cash without noticing the expense, but I kept that apartment because I needed to know something. I needed to know I'd built this without their approval, without their money, without their recognition. I needed to know I could matter without them deciding I mattered. January 2026. Jonathan called again, asked me to design a logo, offered $500. I declined. He complained to the family that I was too proud to help. My actual January, I was reviewing Series C funding proposals. Apex was raising $250 million from Tiger Global, a major venture capital firm. There was a catch. Tiger Global's investment was conditional. They wanted me to sign a 3-year employment extension before they'd commit their money. The lead investor told Russell Bennett directly, "We're investing in Apex because of Natalie Morrison's technical vision. If she leaves, we walk." $250 million, contingent on my signature. February 2026. My father updated his estate plan. The family lawyer mentioned it at Benjamin's housewarming party. Philip Morrison's will. Jonathan gets $1.4 million. Benjamin gets $1.4 million. Tyler gets $1.4 million. Natalie gets Eleanor's jewelry collection, appraised at roughly $10,000. The reasoning, as my father explained to the lawyer, the boys have families to support and careers that need capital. Natalie hasn't shown she can manage money responsibly. My net worth at that moment, $152 million. His entire estate, the thing he was carefully dividing among his sons, was worth 4.2 million total. I was worth 36 times his entire life's accumulation of wealth. And he was leaving me his wife's old jewelry because he didn't think I could handle money. March 10th, 2026. Jonathan called the family with big news. He'd been promoted to managing director at Apex Dynamics. Salary, $265,000 plus equity and bonuses. Total compensation could hit $340,000. My mother immediately started planning a celebration dinner. Saturday the 15th, she announced. 6:30. The whole family. This is a Morrison moment. She sent me a text. Family dinner, Saturday 6:30 p.m. Jonathan has exciting news. Please come and try to look happy for once. That same day, March 10th, I received an email from Russell Bennett. Subject: Urgent. Tiger Global extension requirement. Tiger Global wouldn't commit their $250 million without my signature on the employment extension. Bennett needed it before the Sunday board meeting. Could I meet Thursday or Friday? I looked at my calendar. Saturday the 15th, I'd be at my parents' house in Oak Brook for Jonathan's dinner. I replied, I can meet Saturday evening around 7:45 p.m. I'll be in Oak Brook at my parents' house for a family dinner. If you and Janet from legal can stop by, I can step away briefly and sign. Address: 472 Oak Brook Hills Drive. Bennett replied immediately, Perfect. We'll keep it brief. I'll bring the documents and your first retention check. See you Saturday. Seo. I could have chosen a different day. Could have gone to the office Friday. Could have signed the documents anywhere else. But I didn't. Because for 6 years, I'd watched my family celebrate my brothers while erasing me. 6 years of being introduced as the one who was still figuring it out. 6 years of sympathetic smiles and pitying questions and gift cards while my brothers got investment checks. 6 years of sitting at the far end of the table, closest to the kitchen, farthest from the conversation. And now Russell Bennett, CEO of the company where Jonathan worked, was going to walk into that dining room and ask for me. I knew exactly what was going to happen. I let it happen anyway. March 15th, 2026. I drove from Logan Square to Oak Brook. 18 miles, 35 minutes in Saturday evening traffic. The Morrison estate looked exactly as it always did. Perfect, imposing, expensive. 8,200 square feet of colonial architecture, circular driveway, oak trees, flawless landscaping. I parked on the street. Let the valets handle my brother's cars. I was wearing a simple black dress, $89 from Target, bought 3 years ago. My brothers wore expensive suits, Jonathan in Armani, Benjamin in Tom Ford, Tyler in Hugo Boss. They looked like success. I looked like I'd tried but hadn't quite figured out what success was supposed to look like. That was deliberate. I walked in at 6:40. Late, but not late enough to be rude. My mother's mouth tightened when she saw me in the foyer, but she didn't say anything. Just air-kissed my cheek and gestured toward the dining room. 19 people. My parents. My 3 brothers and their wives. My grandmother Louise. 2 aunts, 2 uncles, 4 cousins. A family friend. Everyone who mattered in the Morrison social circle assembled to celebrate Jonathan. The dining room table was set with my mother's wedding china. Wedgwood, white and gold. Family monogram on every piece. Baccarat crystal. Sterling silver. Catered food from Rosebud. $180 per person. 3 bottles of 2015 Caymus Cabernet Sauvignon. $150 each. My seat. Position 22. Far end of the table, next to the kitchen door, away from the center of conversation. Jonathan. Position 2, at my father's right hand. I sat down. My cousin Michelle gave me a sympathetic smile. My Aunt Patricia asked, Natalie, sweetie, how are you? Are you still doing that computer thing? Before I could answer, My Uncle Jim said to Jonathan, "Managing Director. That's exceptional, John. What does that mean for your trajectory?" Jonathan beamed. "I'll be overseeing 3 product divisions. About 80 people reporting to me. It's a big step." My grandmother Louise reached across the table to pat his hand. "Morrison Excellence. We're so proud of you, darling." Then she turned to me. "And dear, are you still doing those little websites?" I smiled. "Something like that." Benjamin laughed. "Something like that. That's Natalie. Always keeping it vague." He was on his 3rd glass of wine, getting louder. "John, what's the salary bump? 250? 270? 265 base," Jonathan said, unable to hide his pride. "Plus equity and performance bonuses. Could hit 340 this year." "Not bad," Benjamin said. "Not Goldman money, but not bad." Tyler grinned. "Meanwhile, some of us are still figuring out what doors to knock on." He glanced at me when he said it. Not malicious, just casual erasure. I was the implied punchline. Nobody corrected him. My father stood, wineglass raised. "Before dinner is served, I want to say a few words." My mother touched his arm, whispered something. He nodded. "About my children," he amended. Pause. "Well, about the ones who've made this family proud." He looked at Jonathan, at Benjamin, at Tyler. He didn't look at me. "When Eleanor and I started this family, we had a vision. The Morrison name would mean something. Excellence, achievement, leadership. Tonight, I look at my sons and I see that vision realized." His voice was warm, full of genuine emotion. This was a man celebrating his legacy. Jonathan, managing director at one of Chicago's finest tech firms. Benjamin, closing deals that move markets. Tyler, trusted with hundreds of lives every time he takes the controls. These are the moments that define a legacy. He paused. Let it breathe. Then, "Some children make you proud from day one. Some take time. And some," his eyes flicked to me just for a second, "are still finding their way. But tonight is about celebrating those who've arrived." He raised his glass higher. "To Jonathan! To Jonathan!" The room echoed. 19 people, glasses raised, smiles bright. I raised mine 6 inches. Polite, appropriate. My face showed nothing. Dinner was served. Prime rib, roasted vegetables, twice-baked potatoes. Conversation flowed around me. Benjamin told a story about a difficult client. Tyler described flying through turbulence over the Atlantic. Jonathan fielded questions about his new responsibilities. I ate quietly, answered when spoken to, smiled when expected. At 7:15, my phone buzzed silently in my purse. I didn't check it. I knew what it was. Russell Bennett confirming he was on schedule. My cousin Andrew, 8 years old, leaned across the table. "Aunt Natalie, what do you do for work?" Before I could answer, his father Benjamin cut in. "She makes websites, buddy, like the games you play." "Cool," Andrew said. "Can you make me one?" Benjamin laughed. "Maybe if you pay her." I smiled at Andrew. "Maybe someday." The conversation moved on. I checked my phone under the table. Bennett's text, "Leaving office now. ETA 25 minutes." 25 minutes until my 2 worlds collided. I set the phone down, took a sip of wine. The bottle at my end of the table was different from the Kymis everyone else was drinking. Cheaper, grocery store Merlot, maybe $18. A small thing, a subtle thing. But everything in this family was small and subtle until it accumulated into something crushing. Dessert was being prepared in the kitchen. My mother stood, flushed with wine and pride. "Before we have cake, I need to say something." "Oh no, Jonathan, watching you grow into this role has been one of the greatest joys of my life. You've taken the Morrison name and elevated it. Your father and I are so proud." She placed her hand on his shoulder. Jonathan looked up at her, grateful, loved. Then her eyes moved to me. You know, as a mother, you dream that all your children will find success. Some exceed your wildest hopes. She looked at Jonathan, Benjamin, Tyler. And some? Well, some need a little more time. Her smile turned to me, sweet, pitying, performed for the entire room. Natalie, sweetheart, you're still young. You're still exploring. And maybe one day you'll actually matter to this family too. She reached down, patted my hand. I believe in you. We all do. Laughter. Not cruel laughter. Worse. Sympathetic laughter. The kind you give to someone who's trying but hasn't figured it out yet. My sister-in-law let out a soft, humiliating chuckle. My father smirked into his wine glass. My 3 brothers looked away, uncomfortable, but not uncomfortable enough to speak. Not one person defended me. 19 witnesses. Every single one of them heard my mother tell me I didn't matter to my own family. I kept my hand still on the table, didn't pull away from her touch. My face stayed neutral, smile soft, appropriate. Inside, I was counting. Bennett would be here in 3 minutes. My mother sat down, satisfied she'd done her motherly duty. Jonathan tried to speak. Mom, that's not really... Oh, honey, Natalie knows I love her. My mother waved him off. Don't you, sweetie? I opened my mouth to respond. The doorbell rang. The sound cut through the dining room like a blade, loud, insistent. My mother's face twisted with annoyance. Who on earth would come unannounced? My father looked at Jonathan. Did you invite someone else? Jonathan shook his head. No, this is everyone. The hired butler appeared in the doorway. Mr. Morrison, there are 2 visitors at the door. They're asking for Ms. Natalie Morrison. They say it's urgent business. Every face in that room turned to me. 19 pairs of eyes. Confusion, curiosity, some pity. Poor Natalie, probably some kind of problem she needs help with. I set down my wine glass. I know why they're here. I stood. My chair scraped against hardwood. The sound felt louder than it should have. Natalie, my mother started. What is this about? I didn't answer. Just walked toward the foyer, aware of 19 people watching my back. I heard my brother Jonathan half rise from his chair. Natalie, what's going on? I kept walking. In the foyer, the butler had opened the door. 2 people stood on the threshold. Russell Bennett, 56 years old, CEO of Apex Dynamics Group, gray Brioni suit, probably $4,000, warm, professional smile, a man comfortable with power. Next to him, Janet Carlisle, 48, corporate attorney, carrying a leather briefcase that probably cost more than the average monthly rent. Bennett's face lit up when he saw me. Ms. Morrison, thank you for making time. I know family dinners are sacred. We'll be quick. Hello, Russell. My voice was calm, steady. I saw my father appear in the doorway behind me, trying to understand what was happening. I'm Philip Morrison, my father said, stepping forward, hand extended. Can I help you? Bennett turned, shook my father's hand warmly. Mr. Morrison, Russell Bennett, CEO of Apex Dynamics. We've actually met. 2018, Tech Corridor Alliance Board. Small world. I'm here to finalize some documents with your daughter. My father's confusion deepened. My daughter? There must be some mistake. My son Jonathan works at Apex. He's being celebrated tonight. Jonathan Morrison! Bennett's smile widened. Yes. Excellent employee. Managing Director of Product Division 3, correct? His team's integration work on Meridian has been exceptional. He turned back to me. But I'm here for Natalie. Is there a private room where we can handle the paperwork? My mother appeared next. Then Jonathan. Then Benjamin, Tyler. several relatives, drawn by confusion like moths to flame. Bennett seemed to notice the crowd for the first time. He glanced around, still friendly, but slightly puzzled. I apologize. Did I interrupt something? This is my brother Jonathan's promotion dinner, I said quietly. Bennett's face. Realization. Oh. Oh. He recovered smoothly. He was a CEO after all. Well then, congratulations, Jonathan. And what perfect timing. He looked back at Jonathan. Your sister's work is the reason your division is thriving. Jonathan's mouth opened. No sound came out. My mother found her voice first. Mr. Bennett, I think there's been a terrible misunderstanding. Natalie doesn't work in technology. She does freelance web design. Bennett's expression shifted. Genuine puzzlement. Web design? He looked at me, then back at my mother. No, ma'am. Natalie founded Meridian AI Solutions, enterprise AI automation platform. She built it from her dorm room at Northwestern, scaled it to $105 million in revenue, then sold it to us last August for $680 million. Complete silence. You could have heard a pin drop on the hardwood floor. We acquired the company specifically to access her technology and expertise, Bennett continued, his tone matter of fact. He had no idea he was detonating a bomb. To him, this was just business conversation. Mr. Morrison, you served on the Tech Corridor Alliance board with me in 2018. You understand enterprise valuations. $680 million doesn't get paid for web design. My father's face had gone white. $680 million, Bennett finished. Yes, sir. Natalie built the most sophisticated AI infrastructure in our industry vertical. Benjamin stepped forward. He was the Goldman Sachs banker. His brain needed numbers. When you say 680 million acquisition, what was Natalie's percentage? 28% equity post-dilution, Bennett said helpfully. After her Series A with Greylock and Series B with Sequoia. Standard funding rounds for that scale of company. Natalie bootstrapped initially, then brought in institutional capital to scale. Very smart move. Benjamin's face, mental calculation happening in real time. 28% of 680 million is approximately 190 million gross to Natalie, Bennett said. After capital gains taxes and legal fees, she netted about 152 million, plus ongoing compensation and equity in Apex, of course. My 8-year-old nephew Andrew tugged his father's sleeve. Dad, is Aunt Natalie rich? Benjamin stared at me. His voice came out hoarse. Yes, Andrew. Aunt Natalie is very, very rich. I watched my mother's wine glass slip from her hand. It landed on the napkin at her place setting, tipped over. Red wine spread across white linen like blood. Nobody moved to clean it. Everyone was staring at Bennett, at me, trying to process information that didn't fit their reality. Perhaps we should move to another room, Bennett suggested, finally registering the tension. I have the documents here. This won't take long. No, I said quietly. Let's handle it now. I gestured toward the dining room. We can use the table. I walked back in. Bennett and Janet followed. 19 people parted like water. I took my seat. Position 22, far end of the table. Bennett set his briefcase on my mother's white linen tablecloth, clicked it open. Janet pulled out 3 documents, set them precisely in front of me. Natalie, we have 3 items tonight, Bennett said, professional and efficient. First, the 3-year employment extension through March 2029. Tiger Global won't commit their $250 million Series C investment without you. Your signature here and here. I signed. My hand was steady. 250 million? My father's voice was barely a whisper. Yes, sir, Bennett said, glancing up. Tiger Global is investing in Apex because of Natalie specifically. They view her as our most valuable technical asset. He looked back at me. Second document. This acknowledges your commitment to Tiger Global. Initial here and here. I initialed. 2 places. And third, Bennett said, pulling out the final document. Your retention payment. First of 3 installments per the acquisition agreement. Janet pulled something else from the briefcase. A check. She set it on the table. Face up. Amount visible. Pay to the order of Natalie Morrison. Amount $19 million. $19 million. The number sat there on my mother's dining table, next to the Wedgwood china and the spilled wine and the remains of the prime rib dinner. My grandmother's hand went to her heart. My aunt whispered, "Oh my God," 3 times in succession. My cousin Michelle's fork clattered onto her plate. My father gripped the edge of the table, knuckles white. This check represents the first of 3 retention payments, Bennett explained, pulling out a pen. Total package is $133 million over 3 years, post-tax. Natalie, if you'll sign here to acknowledge receipt. I signed the receipt, picked up the check, folded it once, slid it into my small black purse. The $45 purse from Target I'd bought 3 years ago and never replaced. Bennett smiled. Wonderful. Janet, we have everything we need for tomorrow's board meeting. He looked around the room, finally taking in the magnitude of the silence. I do apologize for interrupting your celebration. Jonathan, again, congratulations on the promotion. Your division's integration of Meridian has been exemplary. He paused. The pause went on a half-second too long. Of course, he added, you're working with your sister's technology, so success was expected. He offered his hand to Jonathan for a handshake. Jonathan took it. Autopilot. His face was empty of expression. Jonathan, your team's adoption rate of the Meridian tools was 96% in Q4. Bennett continued, warm and professional. Far exceeded projections. That integration success was actually a key factor in approving your promotion to managing director. Translation, your promotion exists because my technology works. Jonathan's hand dropped. He said nothing. Bennett turned to my father. Sir, I don't know if Natalie mentioned this, but we're announcing her role expansion at the April shareholder meeting. She'll be leading our AI strategy across all divisions. Press release goes out next week. Youngest board member in company history drives innovation agenda. We're quite proud to have her. My father's voice was barely audible. Youngest board member. Yes, 27 years old, sits on our board alongside former executives from Google, Microsoft, McKinsey. Quite an accomplishment. Bennett extended his hand to my father. You must be very proud. My father took the handshake mechanically, said nothing, because the honest answer, the only honest answer, was that he didn't even know. Bennett moved toward the door, Janet following. He stopped, turned back to me. Oh, Natalie, one more thing. The anonymous $2 million donation to Northwestern's Computer Science Department last month? The Scholarship Fund for Women in Technology? The dean mentioned it was one of the largest gifts in the program's history. Beautiful gesture. He winked. Your secret's safe with me. The door closed behind them. 19 people remained at the table. The silence was suffocating. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. 19 faces processing impossible information, trying to reconcile the daughter they'd dismissed for a decade with the woman a CEO just called our most valuable technical asset. My nephew Andrew broke the silence. Aunt Natalie, what's a board member? It means, Benjamin said slowly, his banker brain finally catching up, that Aunt Natalie helps make decisions for the company. Important decisions. Like, he stopped, looked at Jonathan. Like approving budgets and promotions. Jonathan's face changed. You could see the realization hit him in stages. The Meridian Integration Project, he said. The one I've been leading for 6 months. The technology we acquired. That was... He couldn't finish the sentence. Mine, I said quietly. I built that. You've been managing the implementation of technology I created. Tyler leaned forward. I don't understand. You said you did web design? I never said that. I corrected. You said that. I said I worked with computers. You filled in the rest yourselves. My mother finally found her voice. Why didn't you tell us? I looked at her. Really looked at her. When should I have told you, Mom? At Thanksgiving last year, when you announced to everyone that I was still exploring, or at Christmas when Dad gave me $100 gift card while my brothers got $25,000 checks. That's not fair, my father said. We gave what we thought. You gave what you thought I deserved. I finished, based on what you thought I was worth. And what you thought I was worth was approximately 0.4% of what you gave my brothers. The math hung in the air, brutal, precise. You could have told us, Jonathan said. His voice was tight. You could have said something. Instead, you let me... He stopped, started again. I asked you to design a logo for $500. Do you have any idea how that makes me feel now? How it makes you feel? The words came out harder than I intended. Jonathan, I sat in a board meeting in December and voted to approve your $15,000 performance bonus. I signed off on your division's $2.8 million budget in November. I've known since February that your promotion was being discussed. And through all of that, I came to these family dinners and listened to speeches about how I'm still finding my way. You're on the board, Jonathan repeated. His face was pale. You've been on the board. Since when? Since the acquisition closed, August 15th, 7 months ago. 7 months. He laughed. It wasn't a happy sound. 7 months you've been sitting in boardrooms making decisions about my career, and you never said a word. Would you have believed me? I asked. If I'd told you last August that I'd just sold a company for $680 million, would anyone in this room have believed me? Silence, because we all knew the answer. My Aunt Patricia spoke up, her voice small. Natalie, sweetie, we didn't know. If we had known, you would have what? I turned to her. Treated me differently? Introduced me differently? That's exactly the problem, Aunt Patricia. Your respect was conditional on my success, and your definition of success was so narrow that you couldn't even see what I was building. My grandmother Louise was crying quietly. I called your work little websites. I'm so sorry, dear. It's fine, Grandma. It's not fine, my cousin Michelle said. She was one of the few who'd ever looked uncomfortable during the family dismissals. None of this is fine. We all participated in this. Every family dinner, every comment about Natalie figuring things out. We all just went along with it. Because that's what families do, I said. They create a story about who you are, and then they need you to stay in that story so their world makes sense. I stopped fitting your story when I was 17 years old and took that scholarship. Everything after that was just you trying to make me fit again. My father stood up. This is ridiculous. You're making us out to be monsters when all we did was... Was what, Dad? Care about me? Support me? I stood too. You refused to attend my college graduation. You told me computer science was a hobby. You gave me art supplies money while you gave my brothers investment capital. You literally allocated them each $1.4 million in your estate and left me jewelry. His face went red. How do you know about my estate planning? Because I pay attention, I said. The same way I paid attention when you told Uncle Jim I wasn't ready to be serious. The same way I paid attention when Mom introduced me as still figuring it out to everyone who would listen. The same way I paid attention every single time you made it clear that I didn't matter. We never said you didn't matter, Ed. My mother's voice broke. You said it tonight, Mom. 20 minutes ago, in front of 19 people. You literally said, maybe one day you'll actually matter to this family too. She opened her mouth, closed it. No defense available. Benjamin cleared his throat. Natalie, I need to ask. The $86,000 medical debt that got paid off for Aunt Susan last year. We all thought I did that. Was that me? I said. I paid it. Anonymously. He sat back in his chair. Jesus Christ. The $2 million scholarship fund Bennett mentioned? Tyler said slowly. That was you too. Women in Computer Science Scholarship at Northwestern. Yes. $2 million. Tyler shook his head. I don't even know what to say to you. You could try congratulations, I suggested. That's usually what people say when someone builds something successful. This isn't fair, Jonathan said. You're acting like we're the villains here, but you're the one who lied. I never lied. My voice cut through his. I never once told you I was a web designer. I never once told you I was struggling. I never once asked you for help or money or validation. You assumed. All of you. You looked at me and decided who I was, and then you spent a decade treating me like that person, and now you're angry that your assumptions were wrong? We're your family, my mother said. You should have told us. I looked at her, at my father, at my 3 brothers, at the 19 faces around this table. I'm your family too, I said quietly, and none of you thought to ask. I picked up my purse. The purse with the $19 million check inside. I have a board meeting tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Jonathan, your division's Q1 budget needs my signature by noon Monday. I'll review it then. I looked at my father. And Dad, you might want to reconsider that estate split. Not because I need the money. I don't. But because leaving me jewelry while you give my brothers $1.4 million each sends a pretty clear message about how you value your children. And that message is now going to be really awkward to explain when people find out I'm worth 36 times your entire estate. I walked toward the door. Natalie, wait. My mother stood. I stopped, turned back. I spent 10 years waiting, I said. Waiting for you to notice, waiting for you to ask, waiting for you to see me. I'm done waiting. I walked out to see me. I'm done waiting. I walked out of the Morrison family dining room for what I knew might be the last time. Behind me, I heard my mother start to cry. I kept walking. 48 hours later, I was sitting in my apartment in Logan Square. Same apartment, same rent, same furniture. What had changed? Everything else. My phone had been vibrating for 2 days straight. Email from my father, sent Sunday morning at 6:42 a.m. Natalie, I would like to speak with you about your position at Apex Dynamics Group and how we might discuss this situation as a family. Please call me at your earliest convenience. Philip Morrison. Notice. Not Dad. Philip Morrison. Formal. Distant. And notice. Your position at Apex Dynamics Group. Not. I'm sorry. Not. I was wrong. Just a carefully worded request for a meeting about my position. I didn't respond. Text from Jonathan, sent Sunday at 11:23 p.m. Can we talk? I need to understand what happened. This is too big to just leave like this. Please. I responded Monday morning. I'm available to discuss any Apex business matters through normal corporate channels. For family matters, I need some time. He replied immediately. This isn't just business. You're my sister. I typed back. I've always been your sister. That didn't seem to matter before. No response after that. Call from Tyler, Sunday afternoon. I let it go to voicemail. He left a 3-minute message. His voice was different. Smaller. Uncertain. not the confident pilot. Nat, it's Tyler. I know you're probably not taking calls right now, and I get it. But I wanted to say, I'm sorry. I'm really, really sorry. I never thought about how he treated you. I just went along with everyone else, and that was wrong. You didn't deserve that. None of it. If you're willing to talk sometime, I'd like to try to do better. No pressure, just, I'm sorry. It was the only apology that sounded like it understood what it was apologizing for. I saved the voicemail. Benjamin sent a Venmo request Sunday evening. $500. The note. Logo design consultation. Finally paying the family rate. I stared at it for a full minute, trying to determine if it was a joke or an olive branch, or something else entirely. I declined it. Sent him a message. Keep your money, Ben. He wrote back, I don't know how to fix this. I replied, you can't fix it with money. That's the whole point. From my mother, a voicemail Monday morning. I could hear her crying. Natalie, please. I don't understand what happened. I don't understand why you're doing this to us. We love you. We've always loved you. If you needed help, you should have said something. Please call me back. Please. She still didn't understand. Still thought this was about me needing help. Still couldn't see that I'd never needed their help. I'd needed their respect. And respect, I'd learned, couldn't be asked for. It had to be given freely, or it wasn't respect at all. I didn't call back. Monday morning, 8 a.m., I walked into the Apex Dynamics boardroom, 42nd floor. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking downtown Chicago. 12 board members around the table. Russell Bennett stood when I entered. Natalie, good morning. Thank you for your commitment to the Tiger Global extension. They're presenting the term sheet now. We'll vote at the end of the meeting. I took my seat. The nameplate in front of me read, Natalie Morrison, Chief Innovation Officer. Jonathan worked 15 floors below me in this same building. I wondered if he'd come to work today. Wondered if his colleagues had heard anything about Saturday night. Wondered if he was sitting at his desk right now, managing the implementation of technology I'd created, reporting to people who reported to people who reported to me. I wondered if it felt the way I'd felt for 10 years, invisible, underestimated, erased. The board meeting lasted 2 hours. Tiger Global's $250 million investment was approved unanimously. The press release would go out Wednesday morning. My name would be featured prominently. Youngest board member, architect of Apex's AI transformation, driving force behind the company's strategic vision. My family would read about it in the Chicago Tribune. After the meeting, I went back to my apartment, opened my laptop, looked at the Northwestern Scholarship Fund I'd established. Current balance, $2 million, funding full-ride scholarships for 10 women in computer science each year. I added another $3 million, 13 women per year now, women who chose their own path, women whose families might not understand, women who needed to know that choosing themselves wasn't selfish, it was survival. The donation confirmation appeared on my screen. $5 million total now in the fund. My father had given me a $100 gift card for art supplies. I'd just given $5 million to fund women he'd never meet, pursuing a field he'd never respected, proving a point he'd never understand. Tuesday evening, my mother showed up at my apartment building. The doorman called up. Ms. Morrison, you have a visitor. Eleanor Morrison. She says she's your mother. I almost said to send her away. Almost. Send her up, I said. She knocked on my door 3 minutes later. When I opened it, she looked smaller than I remembered. Older. She'd been crying. Her eyes were puffy, makeup smeared. Can I come in? She asked. I stepped aside. She walked into my apartment, looked around. The same apartment they'd all seen as evidence of my failure. Small, modest, rented. She stared at the IKEA furniture, the Target lamps, the framed prints from Home Goods. You could afford anything, she said. Why do you live like this? Because I like it here, I said. Because I chose it. Because it's mine. She sat down on my couch without being invited. Your father is devastated. Good. She flinched. Natalie, that's cruel. Is it? I asked. Is it cruel to want the people who hurt you to actually feel something about it? We didn't hurt you. We love you. Mom. I sat down across from her. You told me in front of 19 people that I didn't matter to my own family. You've been telling me that in different ways for 10 years. Just because you said it with a smile doesn't make it love. I was trying to encourage you. By comparing me to my brothers and finding me lacking, by introducing me as someone who was still figuring it out, by giving me gift cards while they got checks. I shook my head. That wasn't encouragement, that was erasure. We didn't know, she said. If we'd known what you were building. That's exactly the problem. Your love was conditional on knowing. You needed me to prove I was worthy before you'd treat me like I mattered. And Mom, I did prove it. I proved it over and over. I graduated from Northwestern. I built a company. I made it profitable. I employed 240 people. I got acquired for $680 million. And through all of that, you never once thought to ask me how I was really doing. You just assumed I was failing. Tears ran down her face. What do you want from us? I don't want anything from you. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I stopped needing your approval a long time ago. Then why are you so angry? I thought about that. Was I angry? I'm not angry, I said finally. I'm sad. I'm sad that my mother thought so little of me that she was surprised I succeeded. I'm sad that my father built his entire estate plan around the assumption that I couldn't handle money. I'm sad that my brothers never once wondered if maybe there was more to my story than they assumed. I'm sad that it took a CEO walking into a dinner party to make any of you see me. She reached for my hand. I didn't pull away, but I didn't squeeze back either. Can we fix this? She asked. I don't know, I said honestly. I don't know if you can unlearn 10 years of assumptions. I don't know if I can trust that you see me now because of who I actually am, or just because you know my bank balance. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Mom. You taught me that. Every time you gave my brothers opportunities and gave me pity. Every time you celebrated their achievements and dismissed mine. Every time you made me feel like I had to apologize for existing in a family that had already decided I didn't belong. She stood up. I should go. Yeah, I said. You should. At the door, she turned back. I do love you, Natalie. I know you don't believe that right now, but I do. I believe you think you love me, I said. I'm just not sure you love the actual me. You love the daughter you wanted me to be. And I'm not her. I never was. She left. I closed the door. Stood there for a long moment. My phone buzzed. Email from the Northwestern Dean of Engineering. Ms. Morrison, I wanted to inform you that your expanded scholarship fund has already received 3 applications from exceptional candidates. One is a first-generation student from Inglewood, whose single mother cleaned offices to pay for her daughter's AP computer science class. Another is a young woman who taught herself to code in her high school library because her family didn't believe in higher education for girls. The third is a student who was told by her guidance counselor that computer science was too hard for girls and chose it anyway out of spite. These are the students your generosity will transform. On behalf of the entire Northwestern community, thank you. I sat down on my IKEA couch in my Target-furnished apartment and cried, not because I was sad, because those 3 young women would never have to choose between their family's approval and their own path. Because they'd never have to sit at the far end of a table and hear that maybe someday they'd matter. because they'd know from day one that they already mattered. Not because of what their families thought, not because of what anyone else decided, but because they'd chosen themselves. And that choice would always be enough. 3 weeks later, I'm sitting in the Apex boardroom for our monthly meeting. It's April now. The press release has gone out. The Chicago Tribune ran a profile, Hidden Genius, how 27-year-old Natalie Morrison built and sold a $680 million company in secret. The article mentioned my family exactly once. Morrison is the youngest of 4 children from an Oak Brook family. That was all I gave them. The Northwestern Scholarship Fund is up to $7 million. I keep adding to it. There are now 23 women receiving full-ride scholarships. 23 whomen who'll never have to choose between their dreams and their family's approval. I still rent the apartment in Logan Square. Still shop at Target. Still drive the same car I've had since college. But I bought my parents' estate, not the house they live in. I'd never take that from them. Their actual estate. The $4.2 million total my father had so carefully allocated among his sons. I set up a trust. $4.2 million. It generates about $150,000 a year in interest. That money goes to a different cause each year. Scholarships, medical debt relief, small business loans for women-owned companies. The trust is called the Morrison Legacy Fund. Every year, it sends my father a letter informing him of that year's beneficiaries. Every year, he has to see that the Morrison legacy, the thing he cared about so much, is being built by the daughter he left jewelry. My brothers and I have a complicated relationship now. Tyler and I talk sometimes. He's genuinely trying. He asks questions. He listens. He doesn't try to fix anything. He just tries to understand. Jonathan and I are professional. We're cordial in board meetings. We're polite at company events. We're not close. Maybe we'll never be. Maybe that's okay. Benjamin sends me deals sometimes, investment opportunities, companies that might benefit from AI implementation. He's trying to be useful, trying to prove he sees me now. I appreciate the effort, even when I don't need it. My parents and I are in what a therapist might call reconstruction. We have dinner sometimes. Neutral locations, short meetings. We talk about weather and current events and anything except the past. My mother is trying. She catches herself now when she starts to compare me to my brothers. She asks about my work, and sometimes she even seems genuinely interested in the answer. My father is harder. He's a man who built his identity on being right, and I am walking proof that he was wrong. We're civil. We're careful. We're not close. But last week, he sent me an email. Subject line, regarding the estate. The email was brief. Natalie, I have revised my estate plan. The allocation is now 25% to each of my 4 children. I realize this may seem insufficient given the circumstances, but it is equitable. I hope you can accept this as a gesture of my respect for what you have built. Dad. Not Philip Morrison, this time. Dad. I wrote back. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate the gesture. I don't need the inheritance, but I appreciate the acknowledgement of what it represents. Natalie. He replied, I should have acknowledged it sooner. I should have acknowledged you sooner. I'm sorry. 2 sentences, 48 characters, the first apology my father has given me in my entire life. I saved that email, because here's what I've learned. Some families celebrate you before you succeed. Some families learn to celebrate you after, and some families never learn at all. I can't control which family I was born into. I can't control how they saw me, or how long it took them to see differently, or whether they'll ever fully understand what they did. But I can control who I am. I can control what I build. I can control whether I let their limitations become my own. I spent 10 years being invisible in my family, being dismissed, being erased. And I spent those same 10 years building something so undeniable that when it finally came to light, it shattered every assumption they'd made about me. I didn't need their permission. I didn't need their approval. I didn't need their money. I just needed them to be wrong. And they were. My name is Natalie Morrison. I'm 27 years old. I'm the Chief Innovation Officer of a major tech company. I sit on a corporate board. I'm worth $152 million and counting. I fund scholarships for women who choose themselves even when their families can't see them. I employ hundreds of people. I build technology that changes how businesses operate. And I matter. I've always mattered. I just stopped waiting for my family to notice. Some people say I should forgive them, that I should let it go, that I should be grateful they're trying now. Maybe someday I will. But right now, I'm 27 years old, sitting at a boardroom table where I earned my seat, signing off on budgets and strategies and initiatives that shape an entire company's future. And I'm doing it all in the same Target dress I wore to that dinner party 3 weeks ago. Because success isn't about what you wear, or where you live, or who validates you. Success is knowing exactly who you are, building exactly what you want to build, and never, ever apologizing for being the person everyone underestimated. They told me I didn't matter. I proved them wrong. And that moment when the CEO walked through the door and asked for me, that moment when my mother's wine glass slipped from her hand, that moment when my father's face went white, and my brothers finally understood that the little sister they'd dismissed was the one they all answered to now. That moment wasn't revenge. It was liberation. And I've been free ever since.